any sort of a PowerPoint. I'm not going to be doing any presentation except the old way to do it with a whiteboard. So it might be easiest if you changed your view to speaker view. That would put the whiteboard behind me in the largest format so you could read what I'm going to be able to write. I want to start this with the idea that most of the small businesses I start consulting with think of sales and marketing. It's all one word. It's all the same thing. It's what you do to generate customers. And hopefully the purpose of this is to give you a definition of the difference between sales and marketing, the way I present it or the way I see it, to give you some ideas of what to do when you're marketing and what to do when you're selling and potentially how to evaluate that. I'm going to start with the concept that the purpose of business is to make your customer's life better. So every business has that necessary requirement, because if you don't make your customer's life better, your customer doesn't want your product or service. So starting with that, then I need to start this process, and we're going to start it in the marketing area with the idea of a customer. And for me, again, a definition is a customer is somebody that takes money out of their pocket and puts it into your pocket. So as you look at your customer, make sure you know who's paying the bill or who's making the decision to pay the bill. And don't get mixed up that if you're running a daycare, that your customer is the child. Your customer is the parent or the social service agency or whoever it is that's making your life better by paying you enough money to be able to do that specific service. So that's the customer. Once you define your customer, when you're in marketing, there's a couple of things that you need to do. You need, in a marketing campaign, okay, and I'm going to step back a minute. A marketing campaign is the idea of going from the world or a relatively large world to shrink a relatively large world down to people that are prospects. That's the purpose of marketing, is to generate prospects. So prospects is what we're looking for. And the thing that's going to give us the prospects we want is a marketing benefit. We're going to look for the benefit that the prospect is going to get. Way too many marketing campaigns focus on too many benefits. Pick one particular benefit for your business, and that's what should be the message that brings your prospect in. So once you have prospects or potential customers in mind, you define the benefit you want. It's got to be a single benefit. And then you define a message for that benefit. The purpose of this is to have the prospect understand the benefit through this message and come to you. The next thing that you want to do in this is you want to say, okay, given the customer or the prospect and the benefit and the message you have, what is the kind of promotion you need to message that particular prospect with that particular message. The promotion is the way you're going to say your thing. Is it going to be a presentation at a meeting? Is it going to be a website? Is it going to be door hangers on the doorknobs in the area you're working in? Those are all different kinds of promotions that you would do. Once you've defined the promotion, then the next step is to define the placement. If you're going to have a meeting, where is that meeting going to be? Where is your prospect most likely to be such that they will be able to see the promotion that you have and receive your message? This is marketing. And so this is the process of starting with the world in general and coming down to a place where you have prospects as your output. Any questions about that so far? Okay, I'm now going to switch to sales. Sales is a completely different process because in sales, the output isn't the prospect, the input is the prospect. Your marketing campaign has generated a bunch of potential customers for you to talk to. Companies or people or groups, those will be the people that you'll want to do. And you're going to look at these prospects and you're going to look at them and you're going to choose which ones you wish to talk to. Once you make that choice, then the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to define what they're, you're going to actually ask questions. You're going to do an investigation. You're going to ask the prospect, if you know what marketing they come from, you're going to ask the prospect about the message and why they resonate with that message. Once you have defined how you're going to make their lives better, how you're going to do this, at that point, you will present. Notice here in the sales business, you don't start by making a presentation to a prospect. You start the process by investigating what their needs are, making sure that you're aligned. Because if you've given them a message and they have misunderstood that message, the ability of you to make a presentation that's reasonable to them and meaningful to them is almost nil. So the idea is you're going to make sure that that message or that benefit is there. And if it's not, then save yourself some time. Tell your prospect, I'm not the company for you. Hopefully hand them off to somebody that's going to get a benefit that they want and move on to the next prospect. Once you've made your presentation, then what you're going to do is you're going to either make a sale or not. But more importantly than making that particular sale is to understand how you're going to follow up with the customer. In business, the repeat customer is by far the least expensive customer you will ever address. So if you don't have a way to continue the relationship with your customer, or maybe even continue that relationship with a prospect that does not become your customer, then you will lose very heavily in the process of the sales business. So, in general, really quickly, marketing is the idea of going from the world down to a set of prospects. Sales is the idea of going from whatever prospects you have to sales and providing a circle whereby you can continue to sell and follow up and sell and follow up. Very different processes. Questions so far?
Hi, Steve. Can you please go over again? I missed a little bit about the final step on the marketing side, the placement.
Okay, so promotion is basically the method you communicate. Placement is where you do it. A good example would be, I'm going to do banner ads. That's going to be my promotion. Placement is which websites the banner ad will be at.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Other questions? Okay. Now, once we've done this, The question is, did it work? How did it work? How do we evaluate if it worked or not? Well, there's a bunch of metrics that have to do with that. And from a marketing standpoint, there are some very simple things that we can work with. The first one is we can get the number of responses. And a response is simply something that says there was a person out there, they saw whatever marketing campaign I had, and they responded to us saying, tell me something more. The second metric you could use is the number of prospects you generate. The key is, just because somebody responds to your marketing doesn't mean that they understood the message, nor are they a potential customer for you. But when we go from number of responses, we're going to whittle that down to a number of prospects, the people that we're going to actually give to the sales process to begin this question and answer process of figuring out if they can become a customer. And then thirdly, we can take these kinds of things and we can begin to generate some numbers such that as we do different marketing campaigns, as we define different benefits in the marketing campaign, we can see which ones are more successful and which ones are less successful. And so we might have a metric that would be, if we have dollars for the marketing campaign, then we might do dollars per prospect. So I have a marketing campaign that has $450 cost to it. I end up with 9 prospects. My prospects cost me $50 each. There's a $50 cost associated with that. And as I do different marketing campaigns, this number will change based on how well that marketing campaign works. And you can now then go back through the way you set up your marketing campaign and say, what worked, what didn't, what do I want to repeat? Do I want to change the venue somehow? Did I have this particular benefit shown to the wrong audience or the right audience? Was the venue correct? All of these things are things that will help you in your further marketing campaigns. On the same way, we're going to take our prospects and we're going to have some similar metrics. And those metrics are the number of sales, the value of those sales, so this would be, I have 7, let's say, again, I'm gonna take those 9 prospects and I have 3 sales. So now with 3 sales for 9 prospects, I have a 1 in 3 close ratio. Okay, I can take this 1 in 3 close ratio back to my marketing campaign and say, out of my 9 prospects, I had 3, so 3 into 150. Each sale, each cost of customer was $150 in that process. Beyond that, I can do dollars per sale. And you can figure out, based on your marketing campaign, is one kind of a customer, is one kind of a marketing campaign providing a larger dollar figure per sale or a smaller dollar figure per sale? And conversely, a larger profit per sale or a smaller profit per sale. So these are all metrics that you're going to want to use and record when you do your marketing campaigns and your sales campaigns to see what works and what doesn't. Okay, I'm going to stop for questions again. Do we have questions at this point? Got a quiet crowd today. Great. The next piece of this then is to look at the market that you're trying to address and see what you want to do the same and what you want to do different. Once we've gone through this process, from the marketing standpoint, one of the things we'll look at is market penetration. If I have some idea of how many potential customers are in the market and how many customers I'm ending up with, I can get an idea of, is this the right market for me? Am I really successful in this market? I can do a question of, I can vary my message in terms of which benefit my customers are going to have. And then on the other side, on the sales side, one of the things that I like to do is, because I want each one of my customers, key customers, to be a repeat customer, in terms of the repeat, what is the value of that customer? And this value is not what did I sell them today or what have they bought so far. It's what the potential is, what I expect them to be able to do. Are they somebody that will be a repeat customer? How often will they repeat? Are they someone that is buying one product from me and I can extend them into multiple products? Because as I understand more and more about their business or their needs, I can generate more sales or different sales. Okay, I've talked an awful lot. I'd love to have questions from you about your specific companies and what potential marketing or sales problems or issues you have.
So Steve, quick question. So
Sure.
we talked a little bit in the small business class about how to deal with when you get a no, and how to deal with, I think this is definitely very foreign to me, of like, okay, if somebody says no, how to reassess if you've given them the wrong message, or how to kind of continue the investigation process. Certainly not, going for the hard sell, and pressure selling them. But like, how do we, if you have any pointers on what are the next steps if you get that initial no?
Okay. That's a great question. I love that question because sales and no's are something that are really important. From the no, there's two directions you go. One is a valid no. One is, in my opinion, an invalid no. And the way I see these as being different is a valid no is basically the customer saying, I don't see value in your product. Okay? And that's great. This is something that's really understandable. I am advertising a plant-supported or a plant-based meat alternative. And I'm doing that by mixing meat and vegetables together to give a more well-balanced product. If my customer says that I am absolutely vegan, then there's a valid no there. They saw this message that I'm going to have a meat alternative, and in their mind, it was completely alternative to meat, but mine is a mixture product to give a more balanced diet and a more wholesome. There's no value there. Over here, the process is that I'm gonna say I have hidden agenda, something that we don't know. Okay, we'll go back to the alternative, and we're working with this meat vegetable alternative product, and the customer says that sounds pretty good, but their idea is it's too expensive. Too expensive means that I don't believe my hidden agenda, my mind has said, I'm not supposed to pay that amount of money for that product. That's too much money to pay. In this case, the question, hopefully you can go to a point that you understand with your customer, is what is the value? How much should somebody pay for that? And oftentimes that's a discussion that happens where the customer says it's too expensive because he says, I can go to Walmart and buy ground meat for $3 a pound, and you want $8 a pound. And therefore, I can't justify more than twice as much for this in my mind. This is the bias that they have. The question is the health benefit worth $5 a pound? Is the health benefit, if say you use a half a pound per meal, is it worth $2.50 at dinner to be more healthy? That's really the question. And when you reframe the question like that, accepting either answer is just fine, but make this answer not have this hidden information in here, not have this funny bias that says this is the way the world is supposed to be. Have it be something that makes some sort of a sense to whatever the benefit is that you were working with. Does that help, Alexis?
Oh my gosh, that's such an amazing, yeah, that's an amazing explanation of like getting to that next step and reframing the question, like go deeper than it's too expensive. Like, yeah, absolutely. That is, it's that kind of learning the intuition of the of investigating a prospect's need, that intuitive process, and kind of going deeper and asking more questions, finding those biases, and then going that next level down and saying, okay, this is my benefit. This is your, yeah, this is your bias, but my benefit trumps that bias, which is
that, well, either it does or it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, your customer could fall on either side of these things.
Yeah.
And all you're trying to do at this point is find out if they're your customer or not.
Exactly.
And if you get it down to a point that you say, this is the numbers and this is where we are, where do you fit? And they say, I could do $5 a pound, I can't do 8.
Right.
When they say that, say, wonderful. May I take your name such when I get this product to $5 a pound, I can call you.
Great. I love that.
Because that's that follow-up process. You've already invested the money in the sales process. That money is going to go away if you don't do something.
Yeah.
And you may find an alternative. You may find a different process. You may get to the volume that you can get to that $5 a pound area and you're off and running. Or you may actually end up at some point in the future that you're $2.50 a pound.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to want to be back to that customer at that point, especially as a small business. As a small business, we are in almost all cases going to be more expensive than our competitors for equal products. Right. Because the bigger a company is, the better they can do in terms of dollars per volume.
Exactly.
So we needed this niche that makes us enough different, enough special that we really do it. And we can do that on a price basis if we make a different product than our competitors, and we need to show them the difference, or we can do it on the fact that we make a superior product. Right. But that's who we are. That's why small businesses work. We're not there to go after the $3 a pound, farm that has 10,000 head of cattle, and they can process that, because we can't. Exactly. Yeah, that's an amazing explanation. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, other questions?
I actually have one. So my business is e-commerce, so I don't really have the opportunity to have face-to-face conversations and ask questions. I am playing around with daily adverts, and I'm seeing a lot of favorites, because right now I'm on Etsy. I'm looking to bridge over to my own website soon, but in the meantime, I'm utilizing Etsy ads, and I'm seeing a lot of favorites. So I'm trying to figure out how I can take those favorites and turn them into sales. I have an automatic campaign when it's an item left in their cart that sends them a percentage off, but I'm trying to figure out how to target those customers who are favoriting items, but not pulling the trigger. Like, what can I do on my end to turn that favorite into an actual sale?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to an old comment that comes from the sales business when I was first learning it 30, 40 years ago. And that is, customers would rather buy from their friends than somebody they don't know. Okay, so the idea of sales, if you can possibly do it, is to generate a relationship with those people. Okay, and that relationship can be in a variety of different areas. But one of the areas that works really well for me, and the way I've done most of my sales, is I become a resource of information. I'm the expert, I'm the specialist, I'm the person that knows more about the marketplace. I just have some more information. Okay, and so you have these people that have favorites. They're interested in the product. They haven't chosen to do anything for the product, but is there something more you can talk about that product that makes it a benefit for your product and your specialty that you could potentially post and send off to them? Say, I know you're interested in this particular product. Did you know that that stone came from Brazil and was mined by Ethiopian immigrants? Okay, whatever that kind of thing is. I don't know what your benefit is. I don't know exactly what you're selling, but there's, once somebody likes something, what they're trying to do is they're trying to justify buying it. Okay, they're trying to get into their mind that, yeah, it really is worth that. And whatever I can do to help them understand more about my product, it may push them one way or the other, but at least it'll get them off the fence. Okay. The other thing is I go back to this whole idea of investigation as being the first part of sales. If there's any possible way you could get a pattern or an idea or a conversation going with this person, maybe they like three different things they have three different pieces that are favorites for you. Okay. And those three pieces all have some similar characteristic. Is there a way to message back and forth with them saying, I noticed that you like these three things. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me what this is for? Can you tell me, is it a timing question? Is it a money question? Is it I'm just window shopping? Is it I'm your competitor and therefore I'm trying to figure out something about you? I mean, if you can get more of a relationship going such that there's more communication, then they begin to know you better and you begin to know them better. And I know that's hard to do online, but it's something I would certainly try for.
Well, the cool thing is I wish I thought to do that. I should have. I can sometimes see customers' other favorites, and I have noticed a pattern because it's pop art themed. It's popular culture, so I can usually see that they'll favorite similar subjects across the website from other artists, and often sometimes they'll come back and repeat favoriting items, but I never thought to reach out and target the fact that I can see that they're liking a similar subject from other people. So
sure. I mean, all your customers are time limited, just like you are. Okay. And if you can help them with that decision, and if you can wrap or bundle or educate or whatever, and that could even become something where a customization would be worthwhile. You see, they have three different ideas in this concept. They like this idea from this one, and this idea from this one, and this idea from this one. Can you meld them together? Or do you have a product already that's melded together?
Thank you. You just gave me a huge idea. Appreciate it.
You bet. Other questions, other thoughts?
I have a question. So if you reach to a client like once or twice, like what's the limit to reach a client to have it, to sell? Like, for example, if you email like once, twice, three times, so they don't think you become annoying and be like, oh my God, I have too many emails from her, and just literally like don't even pay attention to your emails. Is there like the wording, phrasing, or something like that?
Personally, I hate rules of thumb because they don't work. Okay. I'm going to go back to what I talked about earlier in the sales process, and that is it's a conversation. It's an investigation first. So if you're just spewing information at them, that's a really hard thing to guess to be right. Okay. So anytime you start with the process, if you can possibly begin a conversation with them to say, hey, I noticed you like this. I've got them in red, green, and blue. Do you like red, green, or blue better? If they just come back with a red, then you've started a conversation. And what you've established in that process is you've established the idea that you care about what they're interested in. Okay? It isn't just purely automated. You care what they're looking for. The idea of continuing to talk to somebody, and I'm going to go back to this process I did over here, and that process was the process of investigate, present. If I could spell, this would be better. And follow. Okay? When you begin the process, if you can't investigate, you can only present. But if you can get a response back from this presentation, that's the best part. But go out and see if you can't ask a question of that customer to say, I noticed you looked at product X. Why? You know, is this for you or for a friend? Is this a gift? Is this something you need next week? Do you like big ones or small ones? Do you have a favorite color? Whatever you can do to begin that question and answer such that the customer or the potential customer knows that you're trying to help, that's the best process. If they don't respond, then a couple and you know, I would move on. I would go to the next person. But more important than that, in this idea of when is enough enough, when you get to this follow-up piece, this is one of the things that I find salespeople, especially inexperienced salespeople, do too little of. And that is, what am I going to do the next time? The customer has purchased something, so we have dollars of sale. I want to have them come back and buy again. I want to keep this cycle going. To do that, I want to be able to make sure that I'm top of mind for them. I want to be the person that when they think of my kind of product, and they may not even know what my kind of product is, they might have bought one of 20 different products that I sell, but I want them to be my person. I want this follow-up to be at their schedule. On their method. What that means is, if I get a conversation and I sell something to somebody, say, if you know what the potential of that customer is, you can say, okay, I'd love to keep you informed with things that I'm making or doing, or the service that I provide, or the times that I'm in your neighborhood and so on. When would you like, or when would you potentially need another one of these kinds of things? And how would you like me to make sure you're informed of those things at the time you want to be informed of those things? So that as you go through this process, even if you don't make a sale, even if they buy from somebody else, say, okay, this was a gift for your cousin in Hawaii that you don't know what possibly to buy them. Can you tell me, do you buy them for them once a month? Is this a birthday gift? Whatever you can get to get this process of follow-up going, because many times I will present to a customer and I'll lose the first 2 or 3 times. But every time I come back, I'm better informed. I know more about what they want. I take what they bought and why they bought it into account when I make my next presentation. And if I don't have something that I feel is going to be better than what they bought from somebody else next, I don't present it. I got to listen to what their needs are. We're back to how we're making that customer's life better. What are we doing to make that make sense for them? Does that help, Mari?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You bet. Other questions? Okay. I am absolutely interruptible in everything I do. I'm going to go to a little bit higher level in a couple of these things. Please interrupt me if something comes up. But this was, I've gotten through most of what I wanted to do so far. When I'm doing evaluation of a total program, okay, a marketing and sales program, oftentimes I want some evaluation of the whole process. And in that, the evaluation of the process is, are we in the right market? And by market, I'm defining the customer and the benefit. Okay. Let's pick a different business. Let's pick a business. Let's say we're going to do landscaping. Okay. Who is my customer and what benefit are they going to get? I could have customers that could be elderly. I could have them that are unexperienced. I could have them that are busy. So I'm defining different customers for landscaping. Each one of these people have the potential need to be a landscaping customer. What I'm going to do for the elderly is I'm going to provide the benefit of it being done. For the unexperienced, I may be providing education. For the busy, I'm going to be providing time savings. Each one of these are totally different benefits. Each one of these people are going to see the benefit if it works for them. But I want to talk in terms of, for the elderly, being somebody that can do the things that they used to be able to do in the way they want to do them. Maybe for the elderly, they can weed their gardens, but they can't prune their trees. So I might have a campaign aimed at the elderly in terms of tree pruning. That may be my thing. I could potentially get an unexperienced person that wants their trees pruned also because they just have never done it and they don't know how to do it. I could have the busy that could also want their trees pruned, but I need to decide where I am and decide what I'm going to do. And the market is going to give me that information. So the first place I might do is I might say, okay, I'm going to go after the elderly. And in elderly, I'm going to imply in that they're probably not as computer savvy. So the promotion for them might be a radio ad, might be a seminar at a garden club. Those are the kinds of people that I would do here. So for exactly the same product that I have to define this market. And if I find that this market is not a good market for me because what I've done, what my benefit is, and where I'm doing the benefit isn't working, I could take the same thing and go to a different position. So evaluate whether your market is really the market that you find yourself successful in. Is that the one that works for you? And once you define that market, then take that market one step further to be able to make that work for you. Questions on that? Okay, we are about 5 minutes from being done. In the chat, we should have a request for survey participation. The survey is there. Would love everybody to take that survey before well, not necessarily before the day's out, but at some point for whatever you've done for this micro business week. You can fill out the survey multiple times for different classes that you've been to or different presentations that you've been at. But that survey information will feed an awful lot of information back to Ventures for what things that you would like to see in the future. With that, I'll leave it open to other questions if people want, or we can just relax for a few minutes. Okay, well, thank you for coming. Appreciate your participation in our seminar today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Steve. It was great to see your workshop today. And thank you to all of the participants. I see multiple people who have attended both of the sessions this morning. So thank you all so much for joining us today. As Steve mentioned, we really appreciate your feedback. You're welcome to fill out the survey link in the chat multiple times for different sessions that you attend throughout this day and also throughout the week, as we have more coming this week throughout Micro Business Week. So if you can take a few moments and fill out that survey, that would be greatly appreciated. We at this point have a break. And so I'm going to share my screen here with the schedule that we have for the Micro Business Week today on Monday. So we have at 11 o'clock our next session starting. It is going to be led by Supo, who is here with us representing his business sidekick. Which is going to focus on continuing the sales and marketing track, create brand materials for free. So if you'd like to stay on for that workshop, we'll be getting started with that at 11 o'clock. In the interim, feel free to take a quick stretch, take a little break, and any questions that anybody has, feel free to write those in the chat or unmute. And again, thank you all for joining us today during Micro Business Week. So we'll get started again at 11 o'clock. Thank you, and please take a moment to fill out that survey if you haven't already.